Well, now a NewsNation exclusive more than 3 years after that devastating train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and a shocking new accusation as residents say they are still battling chronic illnesses due to the leaked hazardous materials. The Environmental Protection Agency now being accused of violating its own protocols using ordinary Ziploc-style plastic bags to collect soil samples. Investigative correspondent Rich McHugh joins us live. So, Rich, you learned about this newest allegation from a whistleblower.
That's right, Nicole. And it's almost hard to believe until you actually see the pictures and see the evidence. You know, when officials burned 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride over East Palestine, the EPA, 3 days later, gave residents the all clear, said it was safe to come back in town. 2 years later, the EPA quietly published 23,000 pages of data, soil testing data from a contractor named Arcadis. In fact, the document, which was created in 2024, wasn't published for public until 2025. When independent testing expert Scott Smith read through it all, he found several huge problems.
The fact that the EPA was allowing Norfolk Southern and their contractor Arcadis to use grocery store Ziploc bags to take soil samples. It is as if you allow the murderer to compromise blood samples.
According to their own reports, the EPA, the contractor, was collecting and storing soil samples in plastic bags, which goes directly against the EPA's own established methods, which require dioxin samples to be collected and stored in glass containers. Stephen Petty is an exposure expert, one of the most preeminent in the world. He's testified as an expert in 400 cases. He tested in East Palestine, and his test results remain under seal.
You had possible contamination or messing with the samples and the sample results. And then the other thing I think that's important is one of the things we talk about all the time is chain of custody. That is, from the time the sample is pulled from the ground, in this case the soil, to the time the lab sees it, is there accountability for where that sample's been and how it's been handled. Arcadis, should have known better. It was certainly something that was instantly obvious to me.
It's a huge deal. It can possibly invalidate all the testing for one of the most dangerous compounds known to man, which is dioxin. And that's just one compound. So it's extremely important.
We asked the EPA about this. They have yet to respond to us. Nicole?
All right, so Rich, you've been covering East Palestine for 3 years, ever since the derailment happened. Why is this such an important finding?
This is a big deal because so much of what the public believed was based on what the EPA said was the publicly available data. They said they weren't finding dioxins at the levels that the independent testing experts were. But let's hear it from, I asked that exact question to Scott Smith. Listen to what he said.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this?
This is a 10. This is a 10, and definitely in criminal cases and most civil cases, all these samples they took are compromised. They'd all be thrown out. They'd be inadmissible. And this is even bigger, Rich, because the class action settlement that was approved on or about September 2024, they didn't publish this Arcadis Norfolk Southern EPA data until a year after.
Now, again, just to reiterate, this is important because all the people that signed up for that class action settlement in East Palestine never had access to this data, never had knowledge that these samples might have been flawed or minimized, like the actual toxin levels being read. Nicole?
All right, Rich McHugh with the very latest. Thank you.